All right. Did you get a recording in progress message?
Yep.
Great.
Mhm.
Well, we're good to go. Well, welcome to a new year of Unified. Thanks for being involved. Thanks to those of you who have been involved before, and hearty welcome to those who haven't. It's a great community to be a part of, a great program to be a part of, and we hope that it brings you way more joy than angst. That's typically the case. So I'm going to share my screen, and we'll get started with the presentation. And as you know, we're co-sponsored by Special Olympics Connecticut and the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Association. We're unique in the country with that arrangement, although there's lots of cooperations. We have a real formal arrangement. And we just have a little video here. If I see if I can make that work. There we go. Now I'll see if I can get back to that other screen, which is, we have to stop sharing first. Oh, it's going to take me a second here, folks. Sorry for that. All right. There we go. Mike Mason is just finishing his first year as president and CAO of Special Olympics Connecticut. And he's very supportive of unified sports. And our staff is, I'm Bob Hale. I'm the director for unified sports in the school programs for Connecticut. And on the left there is Barbara Horn, who handles our Unified Champion Schools communications, a lot of elementary work. Carol Brzezowski, who's our program manager. Kathy Davey, who is new to our staff this year, was a very successful unified coach at Newtown High School. Steve Trapone, second from the right there, is a retired athletic director from Cheshire High School, just joining our staff this year. And John Niski, starting his third year with us, formerly at Shelton High School. So we're excited to have a fabulous year, and anything we can do to help, please let us know. We offer a bunch of sports at the state level, including soccer, which will begin next Wednesday with a tournament at Bristol. Basketball, which is our busiest sport. Some bowling events between leagues and around the state a few times a year. Cornhole is our up-and-coming sport that seems to be more and more popular. And we've got a cornhole tournament coming up this fall in Enfield. And I think we have another one that we're looking to schedule as well. We'll have some of those in the winter and the spring. Track and field happens in the spring. Our elementary skill days for our kids grades 1 through 5 or 6, depending on the school configuration, and even young athletes in the preschool level. So we offer something for every level. We're even going to try being active at the collegiate level and building that program in the state. So it's an exciting program to be a part of, and it keeps us busy and keeps us young by all the contacts we have with schools, kids, and teachers. There are some optional sports that schools and leagues embrace, and we'd be interested in other suggestions, but bocce is a popular one, and I know the whole state of Maryland focuses their unified program on bocce. Kickball has been really popular with a lot of school programs, flag football. I know there's some schools that compete even with schools in Massachusetts with flag football. We even have a couple of fishing schools, cheerleading. There's been up to 25, 30 cheerleading teams in the state. Tennis, volleyball, wiffle ball, I hear is a popular one. Anybody else do anything exciting? You can chime in. All right, or you could type it in the chat if you come up with something. Great.
Okay, I'm going to move on. This is Kathy. Kathy Davies. Hope everybody has a great start to their school year. In addition to the sporting events, your teams can partake in different challenges. You might have done this in the past, the marathon challenge, trick shot challenge, jingle jive. And as Bob has said, if there's any other, if you have suggestions, please share that. Carol did ask that I share the new magnet that's coming out this year. So that's the new marathon magnet. So a lot of times there are incentives with these different challenges, and it's fun to see, the jingle jive when the school videos are put up. Just a lot of fun to see what other schools are doing. Go ahead, Bob, if you can go to the next.
Just to be clear, you don't have to run the marathon all at once.
Oh, no. Sorry. Yes, no. Take your time. Keys to success. We've been talking about this as a unified team, is keeping everybody informed. Your athletic director, your principal. I've heard different coaches have invited athletic directors and principals to practices, to participate in the challenges with them. Don't be afraid to invite school and district leaders to your events. Very often, coaches may have their student leaders write letters inviting, superintendents to come and watch them in an athletic contest. And let us know what you are doing and if there's anything we can do to help. Communication is big, and as well as enthusiasm. As a coach, I know you're tired at the end of the day, but the more enthusiastic you are, the more enthusiastic the kids are, and it's a snowball effect. So as you know. Okay. Other different events that we do run through CIAC, the tournaments. Please remember that you should schedule or host a scrimmage before you come to a CIAC event. And we ask for you to join 2 CIA tournament events throughout the year or throughout the season. As far as youth, the YAC meeting, and that's your Youth Activation Council for high school students. We will be having a meeting on Saturday, October 14th. I believe Carol sent an email out to all the different schools. If you did not receive an email with that information, please reach out to us. There is a youth leadership summit that will be coming up on November 1st. And the students who are involved with YAC will help out at this youth leadership summit at Rocky Hill. You also should have received an email for this summit, this youth leadership summit. We are asking for 6 students, 2 of your students' athletes, 4 partners. As far as the athletes go, we ask that they be part of your leadership team. And then don't want to forget the amazing Unified Sports Awards banquet. definitely mark your calendars now. That is Monday, April 29th. One athlete, one partner per school will be receiving an award. There's school awards and essay scholarship winners as well. So lots going on. And something that we didn't put on this, and I know Bob's going to talk more about it, is the basketball games at Mohegan Sun. Those are other CIAC unified sports events that athletes and partners look forward to.
Yeah, as I said, basketball is our busiest season, and we have been so excited to partner with CIAC at the championships at Mohegan Sun. And last year we had 8 different games where we featured unified halftime games, and we actually had 8 different games with 20 different teams, which was amazing and it's so exciting. So information will be coming out probably in January about how to get involved with that, but we hope you'll consider it for high school teams. And here's just some highlights from last year's experience.
1 minute remaining.
Funny that no one ever misses a shot in unified.
1 minute remaining.
When you get your teams settled and you know who's playing, we would like you to fill out a master team roster. You can do that at our registration page, and that way you have access to that throughout the year as well. So you really only have to fill out a team roster once, and then you can import it when you register for one of the tournaments in your league or at the state level. It also gives us access to the data we need to do some reports so that we can keep getting grant money from different people. One big change this year is no birth dates required. We really weren't using those, and we know that that's a kind of a pain to collect that information, type it all in, and then worry about the risk of information getting into the wrong hands. So we're not going to collect birth dates anymore. Include both your partners and your athletes, and then you can make additions throughout the year, but we ask that you never delete any, because they played once, they can count for numbers for participation. And you can enter that on this registration form, which you probably are familiar with. If not, we're going to talk more about it later in the training. And you just click at the bottom where it says submit your master team roster. And then if you're entering other tournaments, we ask you to limit to 2 of our CIAC tournaments per season, so that we have enough room to accommodate everybody who wants to attend. You're up, Steve.
Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for attending. My name is Steve Trefone. Just want to mention a few things about your teams and things that you may need. So we encourage every team to have a team banner. If you don't have one, it's a good idea to see if you can get one made up. What we want on that banner is your school name and the graphic of your school. So usually a picture of your mascot of your school. We also want you to include the Unified Sports logo and the CIAC logo. We can send those to you so that you can get those imprinted onto your banner. If you need those, just email one of us at the staff, the Unified office, and we'll make sure we get that to you. The other thing we encourage and want you all to do is make sure that your teams have uniforms. So if you are purchasing uniforms, consider reversible jerseys. In other words, one side could be the a school color, and the other side is probably white. Therefore, we can have a one team at home and one team away. On both sides, you should have the numbers of the jerseys, so whenever you flip them, the numbers are there. We do ask you to have a following our numbering of our teams, of your teams. Athletes wear even numbers, partners wear odd numbers. So make sure that each of your team members are wearing the correct number. There should be no advertising on your uniform. If Coca-Cola donates your uniform, do not put the Coca-Cola emblem on your uniform, but do include the Unified Sports logo on the uniform. And again, that's available when this gets emailed out to you. You can click on that down below, and that'll give you your logos. All coaches need to be certified, just like in regular sports. Even though it's an activity, you are considered a coach by the state. This is a season-specific class. That's what you're doing now. We're going to train you for the fall sports, but you will need the state of Connecticut coaching certification. Whether you are a teacher or somebody who's outside helping out, you will need that certification. That requires first aid, CPR, and AED, as well as the state certification. There is a 1-hour unified course online that I recommend everybody taking it. If you go to learn.specialolympics.org, that's where you're going to be able to find it. Once you complete the class, email us here at the CIAC Unified office, and we will send you a quarter zip jacket, just like the one I'm wearing. If you can see the picture of Steve Trefone there, we'll send it out to you. The other thing that you're going to need, as well as your state of Connecticut certification and to get your certification, is the concussion training class. Everybody needs to be certified on that. and that'll be on the website as well. So you can enter the learn.specialolympics.org learning portal, Special Olympics learning portal. There are a lot of classes and courses on there directly related to unified sports and unified championship schools. I recommend you guys taking a look at that. You can go in and you can register right on the site. Take a look at it. There's some great courses for all coaches to take. This is a snapshot of the CIAC coaching education site. This is where you would go to sign up to get registered to either get a coaching permit or to renew your coaching permit. Also on the top left hand, you'll see concussion education. That's where you would go to take your initial concussion class. If you need to check your expiration date, that's in the dead center there. You can see it if you already have a permit. You can click on that. A great site for you to just keep handy, so you can always either apply for a coaching education, a coaching certification, or check on the status of your coaching cert. Thank you, Bob.
Can I just interrupt a minute? Somebody wanted to know why they cannot have a company logo on uniforms.
Yes,
That's Special Olympics policy. Just like your varsity team at your school wouldn't have a company on the back of their shirt. You might have it on the scoreboard at your school. You might have it on a spirit shirt or a special fundraising shirt, but you wouldn't have it on their uniform. It rubs me the wrong way when the WNBA has it on their uniforms, to be honest with you. But we don't want to be putting advertising directly on the backs of kids when they have to wear that shirt. Thanks for that question, though.
Good question.
And regarding the link for the 1 hour National Federation high school course, I can send that out to anybody who's interested in that. I'll just send it out to everybody when I send everything out again.
I messed up the presentation again, so I have to stop and start again. Sorry about that.
If your team has some kind of just a T-shirt that you would wear for other activities or around the school, that kind of thing, that was purchased with funds that were given by a company sponsored, that would certainly be okay. But as far as competition uniforms, the logos are not permitted.
All right, and we're back.
okay. Barb Horn, I just wanted to let veteran programs and new programs let you be aware of a program that Special Olympics North America has provided. It's a virtual classroom called Unified Classroom. If you were go on the site, which I think was right on the bottom of that slide, but I don't see it.
Yes, there.
It will be in the slide, the copy that's distributed to everyone, but it's www.generationunified.org/unified classroom. And if you were to go on the site, you register. You may have to contact your IT people to make sure that you are eligible to access the Special Olympics domain. But what it is age appropriate information, classroom geared materials that have different themes. It could be the theme of inclusion. It could be about friendships. It could that can tie into different curriculum. There are reading suggestions. There are lots of videos. You can download some of the programs and edit them if you'd like to make them appropriate for whatever classroom, or They can be used in a classroom context, or they could be used with your team. I think one of the nice things about it is that the curriculum, the videos, include students with disabilities. And many students with disabilities don't get the opportunity to see actual materials in a classroom that are inclusive of them. So I would suggest, if you have, the time to go on, and there are tutorials that are provided that show you how to navigate through the site. But every lesson has directions and suggestions that come along with it. There are reading suggestions. So it's just a lot of material that you might use, and you might even share this with somebody else in the school who you think might benefit from some of these lessons. It's just, like I said, it's one of many resources that Special Olympics North America has provided to us and for teachers.
It also is built on Google Classroom so that you can import those directly without a lot of reformatting.
Okay, so for veteran schools, you probably already are aware of something called Unified Champion Schools. This is and I want to introduce the newer folks to this concept and some of this terminology. Unified Champion Schools is a national program. This is the 16th year of this program. We have participated for all 16 of those years. We in Connecticut had unified sports prior to this program being in place, but this has really been an avenue or a way for us to even enhance what we've already been doing. And the premise of Unified Champion School model is a three-pronged model that advocates for inclusive youth sports, whole school engagement, and inclusive youth leadership. And of course, the inclusive sports is what you're receiving, some training in today. Whole school engagement, and there'll be some future slides that maybe show some examples. But whole school engagement is all about your team, your program not being an isolated program, but getting the entire school, teachers, administration behind the program. And inclusive youth leadership is the philosophy that all students can be leaders, and that's students with and without disabilities. So we encourage and we try to offer as many opportunities as we can through our youth summit, through our youth activation committee, for inclusive youth leadership opportunities. So the model basically says these, and there's a lot of research and experience behind it that has shown that if you include all three aspects of this model, you'll have the greatest impact on school climate in your schools. So that's what the national program is all about. It's through Special Olympics and the Federal Department of Education. Now, having said that, Unified Champion Schools is also any school that we feel is committed to this model, which would be all of you that are participating today and most of our programs. So we use the term to describe the program, but we also refer to individual schools as being a unified champion school. I've described a little bit of the history and the different aspects of the different components. There's also a certain amount of reporting that goes along with this program and storytelling. So if you have any anecdotal stories or activities that you're involved in and you want to share it with myself or anyone else on the team, we're always looking for those stories to share with Special Olympics North America, to highlight all the great things that are going on in Connecticut And we also have social media, which John will be talking about, where we can highlight those activities as well. Under the umbrella of Unified Champion Schools, there's also an opportunity for schools to receive national banner recognition. There is an application in this process in the spring where schools that are involved in all three of those components and meet another list of criteria are eligible for national recognition. They would receive a banner. It's a 4-year recognition, so you can reapply every 4 years. But it's another way to shine light on what's going on in your schools. Many schools have banner recognition, they'll unveil the banner at an assembly or present it at a Board of Ed meeting. So again, it's a great way to celebrate what's going on in your schools and shining a light on all things unified. It also affords us a certain amount of funding, which we then pass on to schools to start new programs, as well as provide youth innovation grants. So you'll probably see something from Bob throughout the year offering a certain amount of funding for individual youth initiatives. And we are fortunate this year to actually have 2 students from Oxford High School that are on the National Youth Ambassador. There were only 7 pairs throughout the nation. And this is the first time that we've had Connecticut representatives on that national board. We're pleased to announce this year's recipients of the banner recognition. We have one brand new school, Westbrook Middle School. This is their first year being recognized as a banner school. And we have 4 schools who renewed their recognition. And as you can see, the banner reflects the 4 years that the banner represents. And we have Valley Regional High School, Wisconsin Middle School, Pomperaug High School, and Rocky Hill High School. So congratulations to those schools for their banner selection. Whole school engagement, as we mentioned, that's one component of the model for Unified Champion Schools. This is some examples, fans in the stands. We love to see at a unified game at your school, the stands filled with fans. Some schools hand out tickets and invite teachers and administrators, have competitions to see if they can't fill the stands. We'd like to see our unified team cheered on just as much as any other team. Some other examples are you can have respect campaigns in your school. Our word, or what we call now, choose to include or respect campaigns. Fundraisers like the Penguin Plunge. If you're involved in the Penguin Plunge for Special Olympics in Connecticut, half of the money you raise will go back to your unified sports program. Rock Your Socks is another initiative that many schools do to raise money and to recognize those with disabilities. I saw a question about how do you host a Penguin Plunge at your school. The Special Olympics runs about 6 Penguin Plunges during the winter. You don't even have to attend that Penguin Plunge in order to participate in the Penguin Plunge. It's something you can do at your school. You could have kids jump in a small baby pool. You can have a dunking booth with, for teachers, whatever. So you don't have your program does not even have to physically attend, say, the Penguin Plunge at the lake or the ocean, wherever it's being held by Special Olympics, but you can participate, raise funds, and also take half of that funds that you raise and use it for your program.
I think that's me, Barb.
Okay, sure.
You're off the hook.
Take it away, Carol. Yep.
Yeah. I think a lot of this you already covered, but just some initiatives for inclusive youth leadership within your school is morning announcements, creating inclusion videos, making captains, have them have a pair involved in your student council, host at different events, greeters at open house and other events like that. So really try to engage your leaders that are on your teams more than just being a player. Have them really work the school community as a whole.
Yeah, and I would add to that too. Another example, there have been some high school students that athletes and partners that have gone down to the elementary levels and worked with those students and even started programs at that level. And if you are interested in the banner recognition, I would emphasize that there's a national certifying board, and they really focus on inclusive youth leadership and really want to see very specific examples of how athletes and partners have facilitated programs, initiated programs, and so forth. So if you're interested in the banner recognition, I just wanted to make a point about that.
The next slide is about Youth Activation Council, which I sent out an email for our October 14th, which is our first training, which is a Saturday. In order to participate, your 2 students have to attend that meeting. And there's really only a handful of meetings a year. I think last year we had 2 or 3. But they really need to make an effort to come to those meetings. It's priority in order to say they're on the council. But what they're learning there is ideas to bring back to their school. They'll have some opportunities to participate in state level activities. Some people last year went to Washington, D.C. We had as somebody mentioned before, a pair from Oxford is now in the National Youth Activation Council. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and they have fun too. So it's not just coming to a meeting. We try to make sure they have a good time as well.
Yeah, we also had a pair from Coggeshall represent Connecticut on the national delegation to the World Games in Berlin this spring. And they've just gotten word that they've been approved for an international exchange coming up sometime within the next year. Lots of exciting opportunities.
And our presenting sponsors this year, Connecticut, the Connecticut chapter of Club Management, ESPN, Hoffman Auto Group, the Hometown Foundation, and the Connecticut Elks Association. And without them, a lot of our programming wouldn't happen. So just keep that in mind as you move forward.
Hi, I'm John Niski, and just want to talk briefly about the social media opportunities. Anytime that you do anything within your program and you're posting it on Instagram or Facebook or the X, formerly known as Twitter, please tag us with the hashtag PlayUnifiedCT, and we'll use that to help spread the word about the good things that are happening all across the state. We have a QR code that's up on the screen that if you scan that with your phone camera, it'll take you right to our Instagram page, and we would ask that you follow us on the Instagram, and that just helps us get the word further and further out throughout the process. So we love to see your pictures and the things that you're doing, and we will help you share your message of inclusion out with everyone else.
Thanks, John. I'm going to leave that slide up here for a second, just in case you want to scan that code. But we are, as I mentioned earlier on, we have programs for every age group from pre-K all the way up through high school and now hopefully college. And so if you want to expand the program in your district, please reach out to us. And we'd love to create an entire pathway. Some districts, we do have a full pre-K through 12 pathway that students can be involved throughout their career. We are going to segue a bit to a bit more technical information. Hopefully get through it pretty quickly for you. This is relative to specifically to administering a team and procedures for soccer, cornhole, and registering for our tournaments. So we'd love to have everybody stay, but if you have to leave, please make sure that you list your information in the chat before you do. And thanks for attending. So we're going to go right on to team eligibility. And one of the hallmarks of Unified is that includes both athletes and partners. And we recognize that there's situations where it's tough to get partners or sometimes even athletes, if you have a small enrollment some year at a small school. But to the degree that you can, please include both athletes and partners, because that's how the connections happen. That's how kids get included. And both athletes and partners are impacted in the most incredible ways by participating in this program. All of our teams are co-ed, so there's no issues with that. And athletes are defined as students with intellectual or developmental disabilities. We broaden the definition for unified sports more than some of the traditional Special Olympics programs, which are aimed specifically at intellectual disabilities. But developmental delays, students on the autism spectrum are definitely included. Our partners are the non-disabled peers, although you may have a student with disabilities who'd prefer to be designated as a partner instead of an athlete, and that's fine with us. In terms of permission forms, just follow your school policies. You want to make sure that your athletes follow the school policy for sports physicals, that they fill out the appropriate permission forms, and that you have those. And you may want to check with your school nurse about any athletes with Down syndrome. There is a atlantoaxial instability issue that they may be affected with, and you just want to make sure that that is recorded and you follow any procedures that are important to do with that. But your school nurse would be the go-to person for that. And if you needed a form, there's a link to that, and we'll provide that for you as well. In terms of emergency contacts, you'll probably remember to have your students' information, because it's probably on your participation form for your school or the athletic card that the AD might provide. But don't forget to bring some emergency contact information for yourself and any other adults that may be accompanying the team. We would hate to have somebody have a health issue and not be able to contact the right folks. As I mentioned, the master team roster, we're anxious to get a good record of the participation of all your kids at the school. And we're just about to begin our soccer season, especially at the middle and the high school levels. So Kathy, you're going to take us through this part?
I'll take you through this part.
Oh,
here.
okay, Steve, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You're right.
no, not a problem. So, as Bob mentioned, soccer is one of our big sports in the fall. Just some information on you, and this will help fulfill your season training for the sport of soccer. So we recommend a maximum of 12 players per squad. If you have more than 12 people signed up, combined your athletes and your partners, we recommend dividing them into 2 squads, 2 different teams. That's way you can get more kids playing at once. Half the team should be non-disabled as best as possible. So we know this always doesn't work out, but that would be great if you can at least make sure half the team is non-disabled. And again, it's all co-ed, so male and female play together. And as I mentioned, create 1 entry per squad. So if you have multiple squads, make sure that you put those squads in each on a separate entry, so that we can make sure that they are signed up for each activity. Maximum is 4 squads per school. That gives us room for other schools to participate as well. And every squad that you have needs at least 1 coach available for them, so we can have simultaneous play at the time. So your squads make up your total team.
And we're not interested in having certification for every one of those adults, but just have somebody who can supervise your team if you have simultaneous play going on.
Good point. So how many people play at one time? You'll have 3 athletes on the field and with 2 partners. Plus you're going to have the goalie. The goalie must be an athlete, and just make sure that that athlete is ambulatory so they can move between one end of the goal to the other to help stop balls and control the play. For level 5, you can have 2 special athletes and 1 partner, plus any one-on-one aids that are needed. So, and we're totally flexible with this depending on the abilities of those athletes. And dedicated aides do not count as a separate player on your team. So as far as, we discussed a little bit about uniforms, making sure that they're numbered correctly. All uniforms should be the same. Make sure everybody is wearing sneakers and they're not wearing school shoes, high heels, things of that nature. No jeans or jewelry. Jewelry is just, it could lead to a possible injury if somebody gets tangled up with a necklace. We talked about no sponsor names may appear on uniforms, but you should have the Unified Sports logo on your uniform. And again, just a reminder that athletes wear even numbers, partners wear the odd numbers. Make sure you bring your school banner. Make sure you have plenty of water for the athletes. Everybody should bring their own sip bottle. Make sure you have a med kit, and also come with ice just in case anyone on your team might have an injury. So the actual soccer game that are played, high school games will run 15 minutes, and it's all running time, 18 minutes. It's all running time. Middle school is 16 minutes. And we can modify those times based on the needs of the athletes. Could be shorter depending on the situation, what we want to do there. Again, make sure you have 3 athletes and 2 partners on the field at all times, plus the goalie. And you can sub anytime during the contest, just as long as you keep the 3 athletes and 2 partners with a goalie as a rule. So
Okay, I think this is my slide.
Oh, you got it, Kathy. Take it.
Okay, I'm popping right in. Okay, so before you even get to these games, you really need to have practice and consistency in practice, not only for skills, but for the socialization. So it's highly recommended. If you can do it weekly, that would be awesome. Twice a week, even better. So whatever you're able to meet with your team for practice, that would be awesome. And as we said before, each team, you want to schedule or host a scrimmage or a practice before you go to a tournament, just so you have an idea of how the tournaments will be run. We added some drills in practice, and you'll see it says page 87 to 102. It is the Special Olympics New Jersey. They have a drill book out that they produced, and 87 to 102 actually deals with soccer, and it starts at the beginning level and takes, beginning skill level, and takes you up through more skilled players. After each of your tournaments, scrimmages, a short survey will be sent to your school just to gather information about your competitions that you had.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end of the season.
At the end of the season. The other thing is for your games, any interscholastic competition that you host, you will need to have officials, and you want to look for volunteers. And very often, soccer team members really enjoy, being able to participate in the unified soccer games. So, And as I was telling you, this is an example of, actually, the next 3 slides are going to be examples of how that Special Olympics New Jersey book takes you through the dribbling basics. It actually starts with each person with the ball stationary and using their foot, the inside, the outside, the top of their foot, their heel, bottom of their foot to touch the ball. Then they take it to dribbling and controlling the ball at, in a line with light touches. The next slide then goes on to something called NASCAR. And here's where you would work on change of speed. I've done this actually with my students when I was coaching, and they love it. That first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and they actually make the car sounds as they're going, and they'll let you know when they're slow and when they're fast. And then the very last slide that they're doing is shooters and shaggers. And again, you're working on students scoring, and you can do a drill similar to this and make it to the level of your students, your athletes, your partners, in order to work on maybe collecting the ball, stopping the ball, then passing it back. So you're not working just on shooting, but other skills as you go. If an athlete isn't really good at stopping, picking up the ball and having your shagger bring it back to them, that's okay too. So you can take all of these drills that they give you and you can make them as simple or as more challenging as you want, depending on skill levels.
Great. We have a handy grid that kind of goes over all the rules. As you can see by the 3 colors, we do level players. The competitive levels are 1 and 2. The recreational level is 3, where most of our teams tend to congregate, and then more developmental levels 4 and 5. Carol's going to go over the specifics about leveling, but important to recognize that the competitive level, the partners can score, and below that, just only the athletes can score.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Carol. Most of our tournaments are broken up into the 3 level sections of when we pair teams together and match them up as a schedule for a tournament. We'll put the level 1 and level 2 together. We'll put the level 3s in a level, and then the level 4s and 5s together.
right. So the level 1 is the most skilled players, and they should be able to play a gym class pretty well, a high functioning gym class or a freshman soccer team. They're pretty good. Level 2, that you'd have skilled players, and level 3, that's where most teams fall into that category. As John said, we might have a level 3 team play a level 2 team, depending upon who signs up for tournaments. We try to keep it as competitive and equal as possible, but sometimes we're not able to. So most coaches are understanding, they'll either play up or play down a little bit if that's happens as a case. But they do have a sense of, that I need to go this way to score. They have an idea of which way to follow the ball, just using their feet. At level 3, at level 4, they have some understanding of the game, but very poor skills. And level 5 would be the lowest skill level. Traditionally, it would be a walker, a wheelchair athlete would be in this category. A lot of times the wheelchair or walker can be adapted to have that person maneuver the ball with, some kind of system. And we have all different kinds of examples we've seen that tech ed departments get involved with and helping that happen. So if you had that problem in your school and you have a wheelchair athlete, you might want to reach out to your tech ed department to see what they can come up with to move the ball around. Is this me too?
Yeah, we can just go through this pretty quickly because we'll provide this to them in writing. So
Right.
it's just the general criteria for each of the divisions of ability. And basically, we mentioned those as we went through, but we'll provide this to you as well.
Right, so
And then-
primarily in that too is level 1s and 2s, athletes and partners can score.
Right.
But they can't, but the partners can only score less than 50% of the time. If you have a level 3, 4, or 5, it's only athletes who are scoring. Kind of keep that in mind.
Right.
And the
as Carol
majority,
mentioned, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just saying the majority of our teams would fall, what would you say, in level 3s and 4s?
Level 3s, yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, probably.
And if you're not sure where your team falls, give us a call and we can talk about it. We can go over a little bit with you and help you make that determination.
And you can see some of our wheelchair athletes have their chairs modified so that they can participate in soccer and corral the ball. On the top, we've got one kid with a laundry basket up there, and they made kind of a plow arrangement for another. Sometimes we even had kids with electric wheelchairs out on the field, and they're zipping around, and it's great to see because they have an advantage that in that situation that they typically don't have. So we will modify as necessary for any of our kids. And on to cornhole with the commissioner of cornhole, John Yuski.
So cornhole is our fastest growing sport, and it's great for both practices and the fun thing about cornhole is that it is easily adaptable, and it is a very actively involved activity where you don't have a lot of kids just standing around waiting for something to happen. There's a lot of everybody's kind of involved the whole time. We do not level when we have tournaments. Everybody plays at the same level, so we don't do level 1, level 2, or level 5 for cornhole, but we do make whatever modifications are necessary, and that's typically just allowing a player to stand closer to the board on the other side. It's a fun, easy thing to do, both within your team and within your school, and also to get together with the local neighboring schools. We also have a growing number of statewide tournaments that are available, and those statewide tournaments fill up very quickly once the registration comes out. So if you are interested in participating in our statewide tournaments, you need to sign up for it as soon as the registration comes out so that you can get in. So schools can come. We have squads of up to 14 players per squads, and those are 7 pairs of an athlete and a partner as often as you can put an athlete and a partner together. If you have to have 2 athletes together on the same team, that's okay. And if you have to have 2 partners together, that's okay as well. But we try to keep that unified pair together. Once they show up at a tournament and they start to play together as a pair, you keep them together throughout the entire tournament. We do things a little bit differently than your normal standard cornhole regulation rules. The main difference that we have in the rules for cornhole, the way that we set it up, is we will have the athlete and the partner will stand at the same end of the field or the court, and they will throw a combination of 8 cornhole bags down to the other side. And then each one of those bags that lands down there will score and will add up those number of points. If you were playing in traditional competitive cornhole, or you would have a cancellation of points against the opposing team, and you would have one partner at one end and other partner at the other end. We found that it was much more beneficial to keep athletes and partners together from the same school on the same end when you're competing against another pair from another school. So it's really kind of a scoring competition and easy to modify, and so far so good. Our state tournaments, if you go to the next slide, Bob, our state tournaments are games up to 21 points or within a 10-minute time frame. We'll put 10 minutes up on the board. Boards are set at 27 feet apart from the back edge to the back edge. Or if you're on a volleyball court in a gymnasium, if you're inside, going across the distance of the lines of a volleyball court. And you can modify any way you want. And we have found that it's very exciting, and both the athletes and the partners can contribute to the score and can contribute to what's going on. So it's really a fun, competitive activity. At each of our state tournaments, we will also host an elimination round at the very end of the tournament, where we'll take one athlete and partner pair from each school that is attending the tournament, and they will go into a single elimination tournament with an ultimate championship winner, which is really exciting if you've ever participated in any of those events. If you have questions or concerns about cornhole, please feel free to reach out, give me a call, or shoot me an email, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure that you're successful.
And if your school needs cornhole boards, let John know as well. We appreciate you attending today, and we'd be glad to help out if you don't have them. I just want to take you quickly through the registration procedures to enter a tournament or to file your master roster. You'll go to the CAS CIAC website, which is casciac.org. Choose the CIAC logo. This may all be changing soon as they're redesigning the site, but as of today, you can do it this way. You get to the main CIAC page and click on the Unified Sports tab, which is indicated where the yellow arrow is there. The yellow arrow is not on the website. I've added that for your edification. Then go to downloads and entries. Once you click on there, and then to intent to enter with the high school, middle school events. You'll see a schedule there with all the dates, and please try to enter on time. We do get a lot of closeouts, especially for some of our more popular events. Make sure that it's at least 2 weeks prior, because we will start to close them. Enter all your athletes and partners, even if they're unable to attend that particular tournament. We're not interested in exactly who's going to be there that day. We're not going to take attendance that day, but we do want to collect that data. And as I said, you can import that, and I'll show you how to do that before we stop, from your master roster or from another tournament entry. You will receive an email to confirm that you were entered. As soon as you hit the submit button, the system should send you an email, and then we will also confirm that just before the tournament. You must respond with answers to all fields, otherwise it won't let you submit. And you'll be asked how many students in total attending, what level the teams are or your squads, and additions to the roster can be made here with all the information you need. And then don't forget to hit submit. Some people in the past have filled out the whole form, go into all the work, and then just close the page, assuming they were entered, but they didn't hit submit, so we never knew. And it's always a scramble to accommodate a team that shows up that we didn't expect. Just some very simple information that you can put down. If you have more than one team, you can fill out multiple entries. That would be helpful. And if you enter 30 people on a team, one of our staff is likely to get back to you and say, hey, do you want to split this into 2 or more teams? Because we would like to get everybody a chance for some playing time. Choose the events that you want to enter. Up to 2 CIAC events per school, plus you may want to enter a league tournament. And then submit the master roster. You can check that at the same time as you enter a tournament. It could include your whole team. Designate the the level for each team, the number of wheelchairs or walkers you have, so we can plan for the field needs that we'll need, and then fill out the name and gender and indicate whether they're an athlete or partner. Again, no longer needed the date of birth. Just information of your principal, coach, practice schedule, and click that you're meeting your own school standards, and then click here to submit. As I said, you'll receive a confirmation email. And if you don't, follow up with us and we can check if your registration went through. At the very top of the page, you'll see a link. Click here to import school and roster information from another event. So that if you click there, it will give you a drop-down list and you can find your team on the list. Click on your team's name and it will automatically populate the form, and then you can add or delete students as necessary. And that is our presentation for today. I'd be glad to entertain any questions. I don't want to open the chat up on my screen because I think it would affect the recording, and I don't want to reveal any personal information on a recording if we send it out. So Carol or Barb, any questions that we need to answer from the
No.
chat?
I just want to remind people to submit your information for the Youth Summit, which is coming up sooner than later. We're starting to collect those already, and we really want to get a head count. So I don't need the names of your kids. I just need to know if you're coming, how many, and what their food is. So please fill out that Google form.
Great.
I just thought to mention, if you're interested in the banner recognition, although the application process is in the spring, I like to send out information in the fall to share with you what the exact criteria is for that recognition. And so your students know what goals they also need to work towards. So I will be sending something out probably in October, describing what those criteria are. And if you have any questions, of course, you can contact us.
Great. Well, thank you so much for attending this afternoon. I hope you have a great school year. Hope it started off fantastic and it continues to get better. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
First of all, thank you very much for a great meeting. My second question is, I heard that you'd like to have the Unified Sports and CIAC logo on the banners for Jockey Hollow Massac High School. Do you happen to have like any patches or anything like that that we could perhaps sew onto the banner?
We don't currently, but we'll look into seeing if we can get some made up for folks, because there's a lot of people with existing banners that could possibly use those. Good suggestion.
Very good, thank you. So if you do come up with something, we could use some patches for our Massac High School and Jockey Hollow banners, please.
Sounds
Are you
good.
referring to like for the banner itself? Would it be better to have it if you have a vinyl banner? It would have to be in vinyl, correct?
Well, if we had some type of like material logo, if we couldn't iron on, we could just get a couple safety pins and attach it that way as well.
Okay, I guess some people have vinyl banners, some people have fabric, so I guess we would have to know that.
Ours is our banners are fabric. It's like
Okay.
Velcro with like sewed on letters.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for the good of the order? Well, again, thanks so much.
I do actually have a question.
Yeah, please.
I'm from Woolcott High School, and so I put a question in the chat, but I'm not sure if they understood what I was asking about the polar plunge. We actually want to know what we need to do to host an event. We want to have people come to us, register. I sent an email through on the website through the Special Olympics, but I never heard back. Like, we have a lake, we have our community behind us. So is there a way we can register to actually host an event?
You know what? Email me directly and
Okay.
I will contact the folks at Special Olympic and let them know exactly what you're interested in. And I think they'd be excited about that.
Because you know what facility I'm talking about, where we
Yeah.
held our NVL picnic at that facility.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you for that clarification. I did misunderstand your question, so.
Yeah,
That
so
was
I
helpful.
figured I
Yes.
figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, again, have a great school year and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Right now.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.